So these are some of the cool aquascapes from Aquashella Dallas 2023. I'm going to start out with Joanna's tank. This was a tank that she did for the Reef Builders Media Lounge. This was a roughly 47-gallon aquarium, so it had pretty much the same dimensions as a 40 breeder, but it was a rimless tank. It had an all-in-one filter all along the back, which made it a really nice aquarium. And this is what she did. I will say, I also helped with this aquascape. I had the very important job of turning on, making sure the lights were hooked up, the filter was hooked up, and I poured the substrate. And so when you look at this beautiful aquarium, clearly you will see my work at hand. And she did the minor things like, do all the driftwood and the planting and the rocks and all that stuff. But let's face it, once the substrate is in, it's easy from there. No, obviously I'm kidding, but I really liked the job that she did here. Fish in this tank, we had a big group of around 20 or 30 ember tetras. We had about 10 neon dwarf rainbow fish, and then there was a really cool cory cat in here, one I've never had before. And so we put 10 red fin Venezuela cory cats in here, and I absolutely love these fish. And we also had some honey grammies, some yellow honey grammies in this tank as well. Plants, she did a lot of jungle val. There's a lot of java fern in here as well. This aquarium was part of the Oaza booth. Their booth wasn't nearly as large as it has been in the past, which was kind of disappointing because I really like that big central aquascaping lounge feel that they had, but they did a great job with the aquariums they had. This was an aquarium that was aquascaped by Jeff Miyake, who is probably one of my all-time favorite aquascapers. I really love his style, and every time he does tanks, I have to feature them, and this is no exception. So this was a great tank. I believe we've got some pork chop rasboras in here, but I absolutely love the combination of the driftwood and the dragonstone. Just a really cool combo. Now this aquarium, again, was somewhere around maybe 50 or 60 gallons or so. I don't remember exactly. It might have been a little bit smaller, but this, again, was probably my favorite aquarium of all of Aquashella, but I got so many more cool ones to show you, such as this one. This was another aquarium that was done in the Oaza booth. This was Jen Williams, another fantastic aquascaper. I loved this aquarium where you've got this nice central theme here going with all the wood. There were some angelfish in this tank, and she's got good taste in fish because she also used ember tetras. Unfortunately, they were on the other side of the aquarium. I guess they just didn't like me because every time I went to the side of the aquarium where they were swimming, they were like, nope, we're going to go to the other side now. So they were playing hide and seek with me, but I really love this tank as well. So this aquarium, I had to stand in front of it. I was talking to somebody, I don't remember who, but I wanted to give you a scale for just how large this aquarium is. It was 600 gallons. This was the Fish Gallery booth. They always have amazing tanks in their booth when they are at Dallas Aquashella. So if you ever go there, it's a booth you have to check out. Again, 600 gallons. This aquarium was 8 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 4 feet tall. We were trying to figure out what they were going to stock it with on Thursday night. When I saw this aquarium, I was like, wow, this is going to be something. I was thinking maybe discus, and then John at KG Tropical said, no, I think it's going to be angelfish. Well, he was right, but they didn't just stock it with some angelfish. Look at this. There are, I don't know how many. I mean, you could pause the video and probably count. I'm going to say 30, maybe 40 angelfish at least. And then they also had some lemon tetras here, and I believe what was the other one that they had? The Serpe tetra. Yeah, that was the red one up there. They also had some hecali, some albino hecali in this aquarium as well, and I believe some cory cats along the bottom. But my goodness, this was absolutely a monster tank, and something I think everybody stopped at because they had to see the big 600 gallon. This was one of the other tanks that was in the fish gallery booth. Love that these are some electric blue rams. Like this tank, I like the way the Seiryu stone was kind of mixed in with these fish. Really cool combination. I'm probably going to talk more about these fish at some point in the future because I've got a bunch more footage and we'll be able to do a species profile on these fish. There were other tanks in the booth as well. I didn't get a chance to shoot all of them just because I was running low on time and people were starting to come on into the event, but this was definitely another really cool aquarium. Okay, I forgot what booth this tank was in. I liked it because it's got one of my favorite nanofish, and that is the rummy nose rasbora. We've done a species profile on that fish. I'll put it in the upper right hand corner as well as in the description below. These are amazing fish. You can see the blue bodies with those orange tails and the orange face, and when you put them on a darker substrate with a darker background, they get even more color. This was the Prism Beta booth, and she's always got a really cool sorority tank going on. I believe this was a 55 gallon, and I believe all of these fish here were for sale, so it was a really nice little setup. This booth, once again, I don't remember exactly where it was from. I just thought it was interesting because it was a pretty good use of plastic plants. I know for a lot of us, we get used to using live plants, but sometimes plastic plants could look okay. This was Grant and Shelby's aquascape for the aquascaping competition. So Aquashella has an aquascaping competition. I believe there were 12 aquariums. This was theirs. I always love their style. It's just, it kind of matches what I think is cool in an aquarium. And there were so many awesome aquascapes. And I say this all the time, but as each competition happens, the scapes get better and more elaborate, and it's really cool to see this aquascaping competition kind of come onto its own. Want to hear from you in the comments section below. Just generally speaking, what was your favorite aquarium that you saw throughout this video? And like I said, I'm going to show you a few more that were really nice. Here's another one where you've got a lot of plants. Really like the natural look of this particular aquarium. Thought this was cool too. I really liked the little snail, the lady riding the snail in the middle of the aquarium. I just thought that was funny. And this was, I think, the only aquascape tank that actually had fish in it. There was a couple of fancy goldfish in this aquarium, but I did like the use of the lighter rocks with the darker substrate and the way the plants were kind of creeping out from in between the rocks. This next one here was one of my favorite aquariums in all of Aquashella Dallas 2023. I love this tank. I love the use of the wood. I wish I had the ability to do something like this, but I don't, so I just enjoy other people who do this type of work. One of the cool things about the aquascaping competition that I heard from pretty much all the contestants is how supportive each aquascaper was for one another, and that is a really kind of a refreshing thing. A lot of times you get into these competitions and there is prizes involved later on in the year, but it's nice to see people working together and really supporting one another. When I walked by this particular aquarium, the time was almost up, and I remember all the hardscape was done and somebody asked, "Are you going to plant it?" And he kind of shook his head, "Yep, going to plant it." And there wasn't a lot of time, so it really turned out well. Here's a fun fact for you on this particular aquarium. I believe, at least I was told by numerous people, that the person who aquascaped this, he was only like 15 years old. I can't imagine only being 15 and being able to do this type of work. Again, it's not something that I can do, so it was pretty cool seeing somebody who's kind of just starting in the space being able to do that. This was a black water aquarium, a lot of reflection going on here, but so it was a little bit hard to see. This tank was absolutely outstanding. Loved the use of the wood and the plants. This was the winner. This was the overall winner for the aquascaping competition, and I thought it was just a really nice, clean look and just a really cool looking aquarium. This one here, it was a little cloudy. That is not the fault of the aquascaper. It's just a lot of these tanks, when you aquascape them, the next day you walk in, there's going to be a little bit of cloudiness when you do this kind of stuff. But I wish this tank would have been like crystal clear because it was a really nice aquascape. What I loved about this particular scape is when I looked at it, it made me feel like someday this might be something I could do. Some of them are so elaborate, I just know I don't have the skill set for it, but this one was really cool, and it was something where I could imagine fish swimming around in this particular scape, and maybe something I could aspire to doing at some point. I believe this one was Sam Scales. He did a great job on this aquarium. I heard he had a catastrophe where one of his caves kind of fell through, but I still love the way it looks. I like that natural look to that particular aquascape and the sand and the mix with the rocks and the different colors. This last one, also really cool. Like I said, a lot to see. So this was the fish tanks, not all of them, but most of them from Dallas Aquashella 2023. Really appreciate you being here, and we'll see you in the next one.